Hey folks, this is Heath Wright from the group Ricochet, and you're listening to Real Country Jukebox with my buddy, Raymond Gardner.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Raymond and James and Real Country Jukebox. Tell them what we're going to talk about today, Raymond.
Yeah, we got a great topic today. I don't think neither one of us are too big on covers that come out that win awards and everything, but a lot of times you hear a song, or at least I do, and you think like, man, you know, I think this song is perfect for so-and-so, and then you really, you wish that they would cut it and put it on the album for, you know, for you to listen to. And the other night, I sent a text message out about a certain song that I put on my list. I listed as number 1, and I was saying how good it'd be if this person would cut it. And my brother, Cody, was like, man, I think that would be a cool podcast idea. And that got me thinking too, if any of y'all that listen quite frequently ever have an idea of something we should do, then shoot us a message or put it in the comments or call us, whatever, and we'll try to come up with something, because it helps us to get feedback, good or bad, as to what we could do differently. In my opinion, anyway.
And you said Cody came up with that, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Cody, for the suggestion. We always appreciate those. I knew you said it was one of your brothers, and I thought you said Cody, but yeah, shout out to Cody, and thanks for giving us a great idea.
Yeah, that's right.
And we've talked about, speaking of this topic, we've talked about covers before. A lot of people, like for example, It Must Be Love. Alan Jackson came out with that however many years after Don Williams did. It's cool to see artists do that, but these are ones, like he said, that we would like to see happen that I guess for the most part, to our knowledge, haven't happened. But
yeah,
this would be fun.
And with you saying that, I'm gonna use that for reference. You know, at my age then, being like 7 when It Must Be Love came out, for example, I don't know. I didn't know Don Williams originally cut it. In my opinion, it was Alan Jackson's song because I was a little kid.
Right.
So I think that I tried to. My first couple are pretty recent, but I went way back on some of these. So I think it would be interesting to bring some of these country songs, old school legendary country songs, back into the popular time period, you know?
Yeah, and not outdo the original, but kind of modernize it and give a new audience, you know, something to hear for the first time.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'll go ahead and lead it off. The song that started all of this, I was on my way home from work, and I don't listen to a whole lot of Trace Atkins, but his best song ever, which I believe was his debut single, is There's a Girl in Texas. And I was just thinking, it would be so cool if Cody Johnson cut this, because it sounds like it was written for him. He has songs that remind me of that, but that Trace Atkins song to me is one of, it is my favorite country song by him, but it's just a great all-around song. I like the meaning of it, and it's definitely could have been written for Cody Johnson.
I'd like to hear a Cody version of that. That was when we first started discussing this topic. That's the first thing he brought it to me, and I thought, man, that's banging.
Yeah.
So the first one I've got 2 songs for this artist, and I know we've talked about Zach Top a lot, and hopefully he's going to be one of the next big things in the future. To me, and I did this based on the way his voice sounds and the style of music he does, obviously, but more his voice. I can hear him doing a little bit of Kevin Denny and a little bit of Keith Whitley. Definitely Keith Whitley, because I'm sure that's one of his heroes, but I would like to hear a Zach Top cover of Miami, Miami, and also a Zach Top cover of That's Just Jesse. I know all of you know about Miami, Miami. Some of you, all you diehard country people, I know have heard That's Just Jesse, but which was Kevin Denny's biggest hit. But I think Zach Top's voice is absolutely perfect for both of those songs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know Zach Top that well, but I really fell into him big time about 2 weeks ago, and I listened to several songs. I ain't heard one yet I didn't like. So
Yeah.
My next one, I have a couple songs that I highlighted, but truth be told, she could cover any of the albums they have, especially the early stuff. I got There's Your Trouble by Dixie Chicks, covered by Hailey Whitters.
Man, that would be good.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it. So I listened to those first 2 albums by the Dixie Chicks, and Hailey Whitters, her delivery, the style of instruments she has, and the lyrics, and and even her vocals sound a lot like them.
A lot.
Yeah, and there. With that being said, I Can Love You Better off the first album is very similar to Everything She Ain't off of Haley's album.
Good call.
Kind of the same storyline. I'm just like, man, everything that they put out reminds me of her. You know, and I think that if she covered their albums, then it'd be nice to bring that sound back, because the thing about them is, you know, they're very controversial, but if you say all that to the side, that they were really making my opinion is real steel country music, when a lot of people had already switched over to like a pop scene.
Yeah.
You know, so and I don't see them the same like I used to, and I was a kid when that happened. But truth be told, man, those first two albums are just as solid as anything. You know, and I'd like to hear Haley Lewis do a cover of both of them.
Absolutely.
I mean, even like Cowboy Take Me Away, there's parts of that song I almost hear her in.
Yeah.
You know, and even Cold Day in July, Sadder, when I can still hear her singing it. And I think that I know I'm covering a lot of songs there, but her music's very similar to theirs.
Yeah. I love Vince Gill's When I Call Your Name. I know some of you people that don't like maybe the really, really, really slow ballad type stuff might not care for that. But I love When I Call Your Name. I think that's sort of it wasn't his first hit by any stretch. It took him a while to get a big hit. But I feel like it's kind of the one that brought him to the dance. And I've always thought ever since Charlie Worsham came out that he sounded in ways like Vince or like a Brian White type sound. So I would love to hear Charlie Worsham cover When I Call Your Name, because I think that would explode. And it's a weird thing correlating Vince Gill and Charlie Worsham, because I would have never known this, but this last trip we went to Nashville, I was in November, and we went down to where Charlie Worsham was playing. He just happened to be playing, I think it was Old Red, just for that night. And sure enough, Jenny Gill, Vince's daughter, was singing background. Was one of his backup singers that night. And I just thought, comparing Vince Gill and Charlie Worsham, then Vince's daughter singing background for him, I thought that was just kind of a wicked coincidence.
That's cool, man. That's real cool. My next one is Jukebox Junkie by Kim Ellens. I think it would be cool if Zach Top covered it.
And so see that. That's
me
good.
too, man.
That's good.
Me too. And you know, it's weird because when I was a kid, I loved that song, but I didn't know who Kim Ellens was really, because I don't think he had many songs out. But when I hear Sounds Like the Radio, to me it reminds me of Jukebox Junkie.
Yeah.
And I think he's got the vocals for it, and he's kind of got that mindset of that early 90s sound, you know.
Yeah, that's a good call, man. And it's funny, those two that you mentioned, those are two guys that are well known to be hanging out in like that Opryland. You know, we like to go to Nashville Palace. That Opryland, older country music type area, they're both known for being spotted in that area. So that's kind of cool. That's another cool correlation between those two.
Oh, yeah.
The first time I ever heard Mae Estes, which is an up-and-coming singer, she hasn't had a lot of radio play yet. I think she's up and coming. She's blowing up pretty good on social media. She's played the Opry. The first time I heard her sing, I thought she sounds like Leanne Womack. And when she's been on the Opry, she's sang Leanne Womack songs. It's funny how that stuff works out. But I would love to hear Mae Estes do any Leanne Womack song. But the one I would really like to hear her do, and I'm sure she's done it a million times at her shows since she's so influenced by her, is Little Past Little Rock. I think that would be a pretty good cover.
Yeah, that would be great, man. That's a good call on that one. Okay, this one, I had a couple songs in mind right off the bat, like Old Bird Dog, for example, by Red Akins. A couple different ones, but every time I would come up with one, I'm like, well, so-and-so did cover that, so-and-so did cover that, but I'm going to go with This Must Be What I'm Talking About, but you could do any Red Akins song. I think Thomas Rhett should cover some of it and have it on the radio, because Thomas Rhett's got the vocals for it, and he Red Akins songs are better than Thomas Rhett songs. It would be it would be a advantage to him to cover some of that old stuff, put it on the radio, have music videos, and bring that sound back, because it's better. And you know, when you go to look at the songs that Rhett put out, a lot of people have already put it on albums, but the stuff that became hits for them was stuff that he wrote that he probably shouldn't have. Like You know, I know he writes a lot of stuff now that ain't even that good.
Yeah.
But the stuff that he was putting on his own albums should be covered, and who better to do it than Tom Shred?
Right. And there would be a lot of times, I would think, in those songs, in those tracks that they were done in the studio, you know, for an album or whatever, that you'd have a hard time telling the difference.
Yeah.
They sound so alike. So alike.
I was
And
thinking
Rhett's
that, too.
music doesn't sound dated.
No.
Like, I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
I love Midland a whole lot. And I think part of the reason I got this idea was, and I think they eventually did a studio version, but Midland did Eastbound and Down, Smokey and the Bandit theme song on a Country Music Award show. And then later on, you know, made a studio version of it and put it out as a song or whatnot. Thinking of that style and those type of bands, I also, obviously, I've talked about how much I love Alabama. I would love to hear Midland do a cover of Roll On. That's a great song about a trucker that misses his family and gets back to his family and all that. And Midland has that style of country music, and I think Midland covering Roll On would be awesome.
That would be cool, man. My next one is Rockin' Years by Ricky Van Shelton and Dolly Parton. I would like to hear Scotty McCreery and Alexander Kay sing it together. I was thinking of who is new that has, because it's hard to beat Ricky Van Shelton, man. And in my opinion, it's hard to beat Dolly Parton. So
Right.
what new artist has the vocals that could possibly put that together? And I would go with those two.
It's a good call, man. I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
Ashley Monroe is another voice that I think is incredible. And I would love to hear, she's got a lot of slow stuff, and I would love to hear her cover Leanne Womack's The Fool.
Oh, yeah, that would be good, man. You know, it's weird how she was so outshined by Miranda. I wonder if she was able to come out before the Pistol Annies, if she would have been bigger than she was.
Yeah, we'd never know.
Yeah, unless she did, I just didn't know about it. But I found out with her through the Pistol Annies. So.
I didn't know about her before then. I mean, if I did, maybe I'd heard the name. But.
Yeah. My next one is She's Got You by Patsy Cline. I think Aaron Vinecourt should cover it. She's got some old songs before she got on Cody Jensen's record that reminds me of that old school Patsy Cline sound, like Playing Old Records she has. And in Playing Old Records, there's a line where she also says, I've got your records and she's got you in that song. And it sounds so much alike. I'm like, you know, a lot of times you listen to that real old music and you're kind of like, I appreciate it, it's too old for me. I really feel like if someone like Aaron redid it, a lot of younger people would be listening to it.
Yeah.
You know?
And speaking of her, man, this has nothing to do with her doing a cover of something. Mm-hmm. That would be awesome. When I see her, I think of, and if she listens to this, I hope she knows this is definitely a compliment. When I see her, I think of Sissy on Urban Cowboy.
Oh yeah,
that's who she reminds me of, and they're both gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a compliment to both of them.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that before, and I can see that for sure.
I got a 2-for-1 here for Cody Johnson. I like Cody Johnson a whole lot, and his style of music and the type of stuff he sings about, I would love to hear a cover of Amarillo by Morning. I think that would fit Cody Johnson to a T. I think he can relate to everything in it. As well as far as his voice, the way it sounds, I would love to hear him cover some Travis Tritt, Help Me Hold On.
I can see that.
Both of those, I think, would be good Cody numbers. Not that he needs any help putting out music because he's killing it, but I think those would be two really good ones.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. My next one is I Was Country, but Country Wasn't Cool by Barbara Mandrell.
Yeah.
And I can see Lane Wilson singing it.
No doubt.
Yeah, and I wish that she'd cover that, because that's a heck of a song, man. And I know that real country people can relate to it. Unfortunately, people that want to do country now have kind of completely changed what real country is and kind of gave it like a stereotype that most of the time ain't even accurate.
Right.
But I feel like Lane Wilson's legit. So
I do too. I've always thought that. Speaking of Alexandra Kay, you mentioned her earlier. A very sweet Dolly Parton, Alison Krauss type vibe I get from her stuff. But I would love to hear her do Wrong Again by Martina McBride. Especially some of the stuff she's gone through lately and the type of stuff she's been putting out. I think Wrong Again would be I'm not going to say as good as Martina, but I think it would be in the same neighborhood.
The funny thing is, I had that on my draft. I took it off.
The same artisan song?
Yeah,
Wow.
the same exact artisan song.
Man, that's cool.
Because I also, because of that album she recently put out, where it was basically all about heartbreak.
Yeah.
I had her doing A Cold Day in July too by Dixie Chicks. And then
Excellent.
but the Wrong Again thing, I can show you when we get
I
back
believe
in
you,
there.
man.
Yeah.
I got no reason not to believe you.
That's so weird that I had her with that song.
Yeah, that's cool. That's funny. That'll never happen again.
I know. I think the only reason why I changed it is because I really want to throw some of these old songs out that are good, but I just don't listen to it all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
For instance, my next one, and I can really sing this. I can really see this girl singing it with her hair done up, just like the music video. But I got Harper Valley PTA by Jenny C. Riley, Casey Musgraves.
100%.
I can see her singing it, and I can see her hair done just like that video.
No question.
And I wish Casey would come back to how she started, because when she came out with that first album, man,
She stood out.
Yeah, I was tore slam up over it, and it's just with every album that she puts out, and I ain't talking bad about her. It just keeps getting worse and worse. You know, and
I don't understand it.
I know, me neither. And she's too. It'd be different if I was just trashing her, but she's too talented and too good at what she does, songwriting, singing, the whole 9 yards.
You're complimenting her by saying,
Yes.
she's better than that.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I could definitely see her singing that with that hair done up like on that video.
I cheated a little bit on this next one because I saw there's not a studio recording, but I saw a live concert and she was doing this song, and I just thought, to be honest with you, and this is weird, but maybe it was Memphis by Pam Tillis, and most of the time I do, or I'll look up the lyrics or whatever, but as long as I've listened to that song, and I hate to even admit this as a country music fan, but there were a few things, and maybe it was Memphis Pam Tillis version, that I didn't really understand what she said. And Ashley McBryde did it. That's who I'm going with. Ashley McBryde did a cover of it at a concert that, I don't know if it's on CMT or what it was, but I watched it on YouTube, and I could understand more what she was saying. I don't know what the difference was, but I love that version, and I would love to hear a studio version.
Yeah, I bet, man, I bet. My next one is, and look, when I came up, not when I came up, but when we came up with this idea for this podcast, man, I dove so deep in it. I said, I really want to think of stuff that I don't listen to all the time, with artists I don't listen to all the time.
Yeah.
And I could actually do a part B and probably even part C to this and still have, in my opinion, good options.
Yeah, you told me you had a lot.
I've got There's No Getting Over Me by Ryan Millsap, covered by Haley Willis. I know it's a male song, but I can see her singing it. We saw her do the Tim McGraw song,
Where the Green Grass Grows.
Where the Green Grass Grows, and I could see her singing that song.
Yeah.
And because him and Casey Musgraves done the this same one actually, I believe. There's No Getting Over Me. And they did good with it, so I can see how Willis gonna do it too.
Yeah. Live Until I Die by Clay Walker. To me, somehow I thought of Scotty McCreery. I think he's putting out good stuff here lately, and I think he would do a really good job with any upbeat Clay Walker song. And I'll mention this too while I'm at it. Now, this is kind of a 2-for-1. I also grew up listening to, as well as watching him on Dukes Hazzard, obviously, I grew up listening to a lot of John Schneider, and I loved, probably because I heard it 6,000 times as a kid, because my parents loved it. I've Been Around Enough to Know by John Schneider, and with the deep end on his voice, and just probably how much I love his music, I think William Michael Morgan would do a good John Schneider, would do a good I've Been Around Enough to Know.
Oh yeah. It's weird because I don't have this up there. I don't have nothing by this guy because he's new, he's brand new, he's in everyone's face, talking about Morgan Wallen.
Right.
But listening to, when you brought up Live Until I Die, it got me thinking right out of the blue. A song that would fit Morgan Wallen is that Some Girls Do by Sawyer Brown. I can see him singing that song for some reason.
And I would listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that wasn't on my list. It came in my head.
It's good.
Are the Good Times Really Over by Haggard? I could hear Joe Nichols singing it.
100%.
And I wish he would. You know, the first time I heard that song, man, it actually came on 95.1, and I was laying in bed. I was probably in like the 5th grade, and I thought it was a brand new song because I had never heard it before.
Yeah.
And I was tour slam up there. I was like, man, there's nothing like this on the radio.
Right.
You know, even at that young, I could understand the message that was coming through.
Yeah.
And I wish that somebody would recover. I wish somebody would cover that because that was perfect.
The last one I got, and this isn't that it's number one on the list. It's just the last one I've got. Your boy Riley Green would do a good job with "Every Time I Get Around You" by David Lee Murphy.
Oh yeah.
I could hear that. That sounds like his speed and the guitar and everything on that. I think that would be a good sound too.
Yeah, anyway, that's all I have for today. But look, if y'all come up with any kind of ideas, kind of like this whole cover thing, it was a lot of fun to do, and it was something we hadn't necessarily planned for.
Yeah.
So I'm always willing to, or if there's covers that y'all think would be good, put it in the comments or send us a message on the Facebook page or anything like that, because I'd love to hear it. You know?
Yep. Me too.
Anyway, all right, y'all take care.